morning. Honorable Maria Lourdes Serrano, Chief Justice of the Philippines, Honorable Adolfo Azcuna, Chancellor of Eliezer and Working President of this conference, distinguished colleagues, dear friends. Thank you, Chief Justice, for sharing with us your insight and visions. Thank you, Chancellor, for hosting us here in the beautiful Philippines. Only 15 years ago, a group of judicial training institutes from 10 countries met to inaugurate the first international organization for judicial training. But already 20 years ago, judicial educators that came together in Sao Paulo, Brazil, had a vision to work for the benefit of the international community by promoting judicial training, ethics, and principles that would guide the work of judicial educators throughout the world. Here in the Philippines, 20 years later, a final draft of Universal Ethics and Principles prepared by a special committee of the IOJT, headed by Judge Adele Kent and Judge Benoit Chamour, will be presented to us at this conference. The vision of the Founding Fathers is now shared by 129 members from 79 countries. They are all willing to have their voices heard and to share their experience for the benefit of the international community. 2 years ago, our conference in Brazil was themed Judicial Excellence. That conference set the stage to explore new concepts of judicial training. This conference here at the Philippines will look to the future from the most basic building blocks and principles to the newest of innovations in the field. Conference delegates will be able to learn from the experience of other judicial training institutes, receive valuable insight into new training technologies, as well as being actual influencers in guiding the IOJT and its valuable role for years to come. I'm sure that we are going to benefit from a rich professional program and also enjoy the cultural and social events at this conference. And now, with your permission, a short but important announcement. Under IOJT's statutes, the General Assembly will vote on 4 officers for IOJT: President, Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General, and Treasurer, and also 5 regional deputy presidents: Africa and Middle East, Europe, South America, Asia and Pacific, and North Central America and Caribbean. I have appointed the nomination committee consisting of Ernest Schmatt from Australia, Rainer Hornung from Germany, Benoit Chamour from France, and chaired by Sheridan Greenland from the United Kingdom. Anyone who wishes to be considered for appointments to this possible position should indicate this as soon as possible to the nominating committee. Existing appointees should confirm that they still wish to be considered for reappointment so that the nominating committee can accurately advise the General Assembly about who is willing to stand. Thank you all. I wish you a fruitful and inspiring conference. Thanks.
Just in order for you to identify the members of the nominations committee, could I have those members stand? This is Sheridan, Rayner, Ernie, and Fernando. So please, if you're interested in being considered for a position, IJT Board of Governors or the Executive Board, please find one of these people during the break. Thank you. Before I introduce a very close friend and our host, I'd like to thank both the Chief Justice and the Chancellor for just an excellent team from FILJA. And with those members of the FILJA team that are in the room, please raise your hand so we can all thank you. There are many of their colleagues out in the registration area that supported all of us. I know that international travel and the challenges that we have getting here, the challenges we have finding our way, and I just want to personally thank all of you for your very personal support for all of us. Now I'd like to introduce someone who was one of the founding fathers of IOJT, also the Chancellor of FILJA, and the host for this 8th International Conference on Training in the Judiciary. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Azcuna.
Honorable Chief Justice Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno of the Republic of the Philippines, Honorable Judge Eliezer Rivlin, President of the International Organization for Judicial Training Institutes, Honorable Mary McQueen of the National Center of State Courts, Secretary General of IOJT, Honorable members of the Board of Executive Committee of the IOJT and Board of Governors, officers of IOJT, Honorable judges and Judicial Education Institute directors from all over the world, Honorable members of the Philippine Judiciary, the gem of the Philippine Judiciary is present here with you today. Friends, good morning. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. And in Spanish, buenos dias. In French, bonjour. Bonjour, madame, bonjour, monsieur. And in our Muslim brothers, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Good morning. And welcome to the Philippines. Welcome to this 8th conference of IOJT, to be held the first time in Asia. I therefore welcome you the Asian way with 3 things according to Lao Tzu: simplicity, compassion, and thanksgiving. Simplicity because simple in yourself, you return to the source of all being. Compassion because compassionate with yourself and with others, you reconcile all things to the world. And finally, thanksgiving, thanking the Almighty for everything we have and everything we will have. We restore all things to God. So with these 3 things, simplicity, compassion, and thanksgiving, I welcome you in the Asian way to this conference. Thank you.
Now the work begins. I'd like to share with you some rules, some directions about the sessions that will begin. So if you will just share with me. For security reasons, all of us must wear our identity badges at all times. And basically there's a no ID, no entry policy. I have it on. That was planned. No, not really. We request that everyone please turn off your mobile devices or check to make sure that they're on silence. so that we can adhere to our program schedule, we're going to dispense with the long introductions of the speakers and refer you to the biographies that are in the printed program. And wasn't that a beautiful program? The FILJA just did an excellent job. Thank you so much for the program. For those of us who are lawyers and judges who appear sometimes before the court, they have provided us with a green light that if the speakers go beyond their allotted times, you will be advised by a blinking light. It reminds me of making an oral argument before, may it please the court. So the green light will be turned on when the presenter begins the presentation, and then 5 minutes before the end of the presentation, a yellow light will signal. And guess what the third light is? Red. I don't know if that means they'll turn off the microphone, but that's giving you the final countdown. And should time permit, at the end of each session, we're going to try to provide times for discussion, for questions and answers, because a lot of what we hope to achieve at this conference is that discussion, that interaction, learning from each other. Simultaneous translations will be provided in this room only. So if you want to, when you're looking at your program, making decisions about which session you want to attend, this room, called the plenary room, is where there will be simultaneous translations. If you also look on your name badge, you'll see a couple of little stickers at the bottom that have numbers on them. After this morning's first opening session to discuss the international principles on judicial training, we will then break out into 3 workshops where we actually discuss what the issues are, what suggestions you have, and your workshop assignment is one of those numbers. The second number is for an incredible trip we have planned for tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be going up to visit the campus of FILJA. And for those of you who haven't been, it's not a venue to be missed. It sits on the top of a mountain overlooking a volcanic crater lake. The views are spectacular. And your bus assignment is on the card. Dress is casual, as I understand it, and the chancellor wanted me to tell you that it's about 10 degrees cooler there than it is here. So, ladies, you may want a light jacket, gentlemen, a light coat or sweater. So, those are any questions from anyone on those few directions? With that, we're going to proceed directly into the first session, so keep your seats. The first panel will join us here, and thank you very much for your attention this morning.